Don't see many tip videos starting in the rough, and that's because in today's topic we're going to be talking about connected golf swing. I hear that phrase a lot. Golfers want to have a nice connected golf swing, and what I see with that is the misinterpretation of the word connected, because it tends to end up being golfers go too flat around the body. Now don't forget, the golf swing is a rotational movement, but there's also height in the swing, so it's working on a swing arc that's working up and around your body. So I often say it's working about a 90-degree angle to your spine angle, which would take me up here. Now, a lot of golfers kind of just only focus on rotation. Now, rightly or wrongly, rotation is really important, but it's not the sole focus of the golf swing. I often see golfers just set up, tuck the triceps into the chest, and then turn the hips and the shoulders, and we end up with a path that's very, very flat. The lead arm goes right across the chest, and we don't create any height in the swing. Now, the reason I'm in the rough is because these circumstances in particular are really, really difficult for those golfers that swing it too flat. If you're in the really thick rough, you've got no chance. If you're in rough, it's very, very difficult. If you're on a slope that's moving towards the target, so this part of the slope here is impeding your golf swing, and it will do so more if you have a flat golf swing. So really important to understand the balance between rotational golf swing, but adding height with your arms. Okay, so the way that I would see a lot of golfers struggle like this: we're in the rough, we swing the club around, and because the club comes in flatter, it gets in lower to the ground earlier. So it wants this longer grass, it's going to hit it earlier than the golf ball. If you're on a fairway, you might just kind of swipe it off the fairway just right, nip it perfectly. And that's because there's no grass behind the ball to impede you. You might really enjoy hitting 3 woods and 5 woods off the fairway, again because your angle of attack to the golf ball is very, very flat off a fairway. But as soon as you come to those sloping lies or in the rough, you're in deep, deep trouble. So often what I see is this lead arm going very, very flat behind the body, and then we end up catching the ground a good couple of inches before the ball, and you don't maximize your distance. So what I want you to understand is that the golf swing has a rotational move like this. See how my shoulders are basically working around my spine angle at a 90-degree angle, and my arms are going to work like this. My arms only work upwards. Now, if we put a combination of rotation and lift, that's how we effectively have what Pete Cowan calls the spiral staircase: rotational and lifting. Okay, so as the body starts to rotate, the arms are going to start to lift and detach themselves a little bit from the body. Now again, there is a balance to this, because we don't want to see more lift than rotation, and we end up with what we call the flying elbow and a huge gap here between the trail elbow and the body. So we want to have that happy medium, and I would urge every golfer to kind of stand in front of a mirror. Okay, and if you stand in front of that mirror and you see the rotation, then you add your lift. What you want to see is this lead arm working pretty much parallel to your shoulders. So if you can get your lead arm parallel to shoulders, your lead arm is now at a 90-degree angle to your spine. Now that can be all a little bit complicated. Basically, lead arm goes across your chest, across your shoulders. We don't want it being a rotation only, and we don't want just a lift. Okay, so that shoulder plane that we practice a lot of is also the positioning for your arms at the top of the backswing, because there we get a nice combination of rotation but also downward angle of attack. So when I'm in this rough now, and I'm going to just give myself not an overly pretty lie, I'm just going to sit it down in there. Okay, if I get turn and height, as I move back into the golf ball, I'm coming in neutral, and the club's coming in from a height down into the ball, so it takes away this grass behind the ball and it compresses much better. So that ball now, in relation to the first shot, has travelled God knows how much further, maybe 100 yards. okay? It's gone so much further, okay? That's because the angle difference between backswing, the angle difference between the first two shots, one came in super flat and low, one came in from a higher position, and it took out all of this grass behind the ball and it just made connection in here. And again, that's really key to understand. I see a lot of players just swinging keep the arms in, and you kind of get that towel drill sometimes that a lot of coaches will say, put a towel under both armpits and just swing it around your body. Now, this is a real quick fix for those golfers that go too high. So we have to make sure that we understand what the end game is. And the end game for this is making sure that the golf club at takeaway gets parallel to your feet. And then as you get to the top of the backswing, your left arm, your lead arm gets approximately parallel to your shoulder plane. If we see a flat swing, we'll often see the golf club looking like it's pointing away from you to the right-hand side of target for right-handed golfers. And if we get a little bit too steep, we often see the golf club pointing at the body. So we can start to encourage this added little bit of lift in the takeaway much earlier in the swing, and we can see it on this position here when the shaft of the club is pointing at the target and or parallel to your feet. From here, we're going to continue the turn, but notice how my body's turning upwards, okay? So again, I'm rotating up and extending up through this right hip. This right shoulder's working up and back. And again, the old analogy I remember growing up with was almost like you were revving up an old lawnmower, where you're kind of revving it back there. So you see how this right hip extends. My body's rotating upwards as I go to the top. It wouldn't just be rotating flat. Really good little drill, or really good analogy, I should say, just to kind of feel that you're revving that lawnmower up, extending up through that right hip, getting that rotation of your chest. And as you're doing so, you're up into that position, you've extended up, you've got the height. Use a mirror to make sure you're in the right position. Often just feeling like this, I would often feel like my glove is working up and around towards the right shoulder, because again, you want to make sure you've got that nice combination of rotation as well as the height to get to the top of the backswing, and that's the real key to find that balance between the two. Give that tip a go. It's a really important one to understand the swing plane, where the golf swing should be traveling. Really good checkpoint to be going with in terms of the takeaway, but also then using the top of the backswing as a good reference point as well. You probably need a mirror. Obviously you can't just kind of know that on the driving range. It's something that you could do at home, mirror, reflection in a window, whatever. Great drills for working at home and not having to go to the range and hit golf balls as well. But I hope this video has helped. If it has, hit the subscribe. Loads of content. I've just been out filming a couple of reviews as well for some irons that I'm actually going to be giving away, so check them out. But yeah, coming into the golf season makes me happy. Subscribe, that'll make me even happier, and I'll see you next time.